After looking at options for getting this prop made and seeing that the cost was going to be very high, we said, you know what, let's just do this ourselves. We can make this. And we wanted to make it portable. So we started with a folding table that was narrow enough to sort of hold this control panel. And then we found at Home Depot a bunch of stuff that we thought we could fashion into a sort of metallic or brass looking facade, including some very thin brass screens that were flexible and some PVC pipe made out of vinyl that we just split down the middle and could place onto the grate. All we had to do was spray paint that with some metallic paint to match the grate, and we had our metal thing. We also got some 3/4 inch PVC pipe and cut that lengthwise as well to add a little bit of stability around the edges. But it made for a nice lightweight thing that we could then tie with fishing line to the folding table. Next we got some nice red velvet. It was one of our bigger expenses, and we'd always wanted a medallion that was on the front. So we found a little piece of gingerbread that you're supposed to put around a ceiling fan, and we just created a Hover Balcony logo and got one of those push button closet light and taped it inside that so that it could make a nice little glowing centerpiece. And we just hung that on the front.
So we're getting the Hover Balcony all together today. We've secured things a little more, worked on some of the fabric details, and now we're putting the lighted medallion or crest on the front here.
So the next thing we did is we got to work on the console. We wanted 3 pieces that were separate that we could then move around if we needed to.
We are getting our control panel built, so there's a lot of different elements that go into it, but we have this little touch-sensitive electrical classic thing. We put it in a nice vintage frame, but with a modern lacquer finish. And we're just kind of building out sections. This is going to be for navigation and video.
And added some little foiled gingerbread and some leaves and things like that to make it look a little more old-fashioned. On the right side, we actually wanted to have a working soundboard, so we got a nice soundboard that some friends of ours weren't using anymore and covered it in gold chrome tape that they used to detail cars. And that looked pretty good when it was done. We added some jewels and other things to that to give it a little bit of extra pizzazz and strangeness. And then on the other side, we had some corrugated PVC sheeting that we got and cut to size throughout, covered that in tape, and then added some LED lights that we soldered in, added some switches so we could turn those on and off. And then we added a lot of old radio buttons that had been pulled from vintage radios. At some point we had seen a brass clock that looked like a ship's wheel, and we thought that was great for time travel. So we included that and made a base that had a compass attached to it. In addition to having a lot of brass, we wanted it to have glass and see-through areas, and one of the things we wanted was a see-through keyboard, but with old-fashioned keys. So we got some laser-cut wooden keys and some plexiglass and surrounded that with some brass molding and hot glued the keys onto the plexiglass so that we could backlight it and give it a dramatic look.
All right, so we've got the Hover Balcony control panel all together. It's pretty much done. There's just going to be a little bit of polishing as we finish up the edges.
We had a lot of issues with reflectivity that we had to deal with, so we did a lot of camera tests trying to figure out how to minimize the spill from the green screen and getting reflective surfaces from above. So we did a lot of tests where we would try to isolate it in shadow, as well as do it in full daylight, so that we'd have that full range of options.
We have a homemade cyclotron set up here. All different pieces of green paper and green fabric and black paper and white sheets and lights everywhere, so that the hover balcony can fly through space and time and look good doing it.
So we just got a big long piece of chroma key fabric and set about trying to isolate out the hover balcony. Once we had all of the prop figured out, since it's named Hover Balcony, we started working on getting the characters figured out. We did a bunch of camera tests with that, found good costumes for them, bought ridiculous wigs, and got going on trying to make them into memorable characters. So we encourage all of you to get out there, make some props, make some stuff, show us how you do it, and have a lot of fun doing it like we did.